We have now come to the end of 2025. Did you have a good year? I had quite an interesting year. In this video, I will tell you everything that happened. My life in Ho Chi Minh City, my distant journeys to Japan, Taiwan, and England, and the weird things that happen in everyday life. So please sit back and relax. Let's go. Do you see this ledge at the side of a school? Well, on that ledge is a dead bird. I bet you want to know the story behind this dead bird. Well, you'll have to wait until later in the video. As the Lunar New Year approached in early 2025, I decided to go on a trip to Japan. As you can see, it turned midnight on Lunar New Year while I was flying, so you can see all these fireworks from the plane. On the flight they gave lucky money, and I got 50,000 dong. It's about £1.60. The guy next to me got a few million. So yeah, I got to Japan, and I spent a few days looking about. Then I went on a 4.5-hour bus journey to Matsumoto. It's a small town up in the mountains in central Japan. Being surrounded by mountains is such a cool aesthetic. I was going there to see a friend, which I've spoken to online for years. This is Matsumoto Castle. What a tranquil place. And he bought me the local delicacy, which is unagi, or eel. Very umai. I then looked around his record collection, which he kept in an abandoned building. He keeps all of this secret from his wife. And as you can see, he's got some really rare records which don't have any traces online. So I went through his collection, picking out all of the rarities. And then over the following months, he would send me the files for them, which is cool. He gave me this record, which might actually be his rarest record. It's an acetate, so there's only 20 copies in existence. And then I stayed in this traditional hotel, which he also paid for. Very fortunate to have this guy as a friend. This is the view from the balcony of the hotel. It was probably the most peaceful place I have ever been to. So then I traveled back to Tokyo, then I spent the rest of my time seeing the sights. Groovy toilet. And that's my trip to Japan. Let's go back to Ho Chi Minh City. I always like to take photos of strange things I see while being on the back of a motorbike taxi. This guy's jacket says Kate Moss and some pizza slices. Meanwhile, this driver has a full-on Dragon Ball diorama on the front of his bike. I don't really understand the back of this t-shirt, but it's got an address. It says, "I'll meet you there." So I wonder what is actually there. This car has a banana taped to the back of it. Very thought-provoking. This car's supposed to say Vin Fast, but instead it says Vin Fats. And then you got this guy who stuck memes onto his helmet. I actually really want to do that. Some more goings on in Ho Chi Minh City. What is this bug on my balcony? This cloud of death slowly coming towards me. Ugh. And here's a picture of myself very proud to own the last 3 packets of Coca-Cola Oreos in Vietnam. I still have 2 of them in my fridge. Very expired. I admire the floor of this toilet. Very Stanley Kubrick shining. So you know earlier I spoke about this dead bird. What's the deal with that? Well, that dead bird was there on that balcony in October 2024. It is now February of 2025 and it is still there. It's very strange they haven't picked it up yet. Anyway, so I worked at this school for a year. I handed in my resignation. It was not for me. Look at what they did to the calculator. Ooh. Here's some goings on at that school. I took my students to the library and a bunch of them started reading dictionaries. I confiscated 6 mirrors from this class. Great opportunity for a selfie. I named each group in this grade 10 class a name that is relevant for their personality. So you've got Team Sleepy, Team Social Media Addiction, Team Late on Monday, Team Brain Rot, and Team Draw Teacher Too Much. I'm sure they appreciated that. I don't understand this reference. Kill the senators, destroy functionists. Fortunately, that was not my class. Here's some classic Blue Kid names, which the students named themselves. We have Mr. Duck, Thomas Toilet, and Hi. I would get students to draw a picture and do some writing. and a lot of them wouldn't do any writing, and they would just draw these terrible pictures. I'm not sure what that is. That's Doraemon, that's Naruto, and that's Doraemon again. This girl bought a skibbity toilet to school.
Wow.
I go to the deputy principal and I ask for help with this class, saying most of them have special needs. And she says to me, none of the students in the school have got special needs. Well then, you can talk to the girl who paints her hands blue and brings a skibbity toilet to school. Or the kid who likes dropping electrical things into water. Or the kid that jumps on the desk and starts hissing at me. One day my students didn't turn up, so I did the register anyway. Kun an, vid an, nyau an is my very interesting grade 10 class. Take note of the girl on the right, who in every photo is on her iPad. This generation is cooked. During my last day at this school, I watched Shawshank Redemption on my laptop, and then just went home. And before you ask, yes, that dead bird is still there, joined by 3 tennis balls. He's got company, so I'm happy. There were a lot of celebrations this year for Vietnam. One of them was the 50-year celebration of independence. At that time, I went to Hanoi and witnessed possibly the greatest unexpected concert I had ever seen. Take a listen. Going back from work in Ho Chi Minh City, I encountered this English language center. And if you look through the window, you can see all of the pictures of the English teachers on the wall. I just find that quite funny, that literally treated like gods. Now I'm taking the long journey back to England, stopping off at Shanghai. On the plane, I found this film called The Wandering Earth, which says it's one of the best science fictions made in China. I watched it, and it really is one of the worst films I've seen. Because of global warming, they put jets on the Earth and they try to move it to a different solar system. It's terrible. And now I'm back in England. What kind of things did I see? At the seaside, I saw this lovely sign saying turds. At one stage, there was probably a dog poo there. Here's one of those coin slot machines. You got the new banknote with Prince Charles's face on it. Very dapper. Probably a better year for him than his brother. Maybe I'm just blind, but this mystery box, it can't go down the hole, right? And we got a family reunion of all of the British sauces. Try mixing them together. If you're in Kent and you're looking for furniture, you should try the Slaughterhouse Furniture Depository. Sounds legit. I bought an Xbox One down at Boot Fair for £30. It works okay. And Americans always say like, British food sucks. Well, take a look at this. A perfect blend of Cookie Crisp and Crave. 5-star food. Here's me next to a decapitated head. Lovely. This is in the small town of Sandwich, where they have this pretty dope stained glass window. I want one. Here's your typical British weather. And for one day, I went to London with my father. We watched the Holy Mountain. Here is a great piece of advice. Never watch the Holy Mountain with your parents. It's a bit weird. Meanwhile, back at home, I find pictures of my great-great-grandfather and my great-grandfather and great-grandmother's wedding. Before returning to Vietnam, I took another trip with my dad to Bruges in Belgium. As a fan of In Bruges, it's kind of strange that I haven't already been to this place. It's very scenic and very beautiful, and the waffles are immaculate. Ooh yeah. This here is the lamp museum. We have a lot of lamps. Many lamps. Ooh. Maybe 1 million lamps. Ooh. So I return from Bruges, I turn on the TV, and I see this question here. How many different members of the girl group Sugar Babes have there been in total? I jump up out of my seat, and I say, it's 6, and then the rest of my family just look at me like I'm a bit weird. There were 3 original Sugar Babes. One of them left, another joined. A different one left, a different one joined, and the last one left, and then the final one joined. So it's 6, but then it also asks that question, are they still even the Sugar Babes? It's like when you build a boat and you replace every part of that boat. Is it still the same boat? It's a pretty deep question. So now I fly back through China, allowing for some pretty cool photos. Here are some interesting foods I ate this year. We got a gourmet banh mi. We got some buncha. Dip the noodles into the sauce. It's one of my favorites. And then you got these Taiwan noodles, which I ate in Hanoi. Anyways, what's that on my taxi driver's helmet? Ugh. So I joined a new workplace, and I really like this new job. There's a lot of donuts, and there's a lot of mooncakes, and I used the little drawer next to me to fill it up with snacks. That's a bad habit. Look at this soap dispenser. Unbelievable. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you get frog for lunch. After doing this, the South African teacher told me, "Don't play with your lunch." I'm working on the accent. I actually keep this list on my desk. I sit next to two middle-aged ladies, one from South Africa, one from Australia. And when they say a weird word, I put it on my tier list. So the South African lady would say, "Biltong." I'd say that's an E. The Australian lady would say, "That's wacky backy." And I'd give that a C. And then the Australian lady said, "Oh, I bloody love the nut bush." And I gave that an F. She gave me a very evil look for doing that. They now call me commander of the English language, in an ironic sense. More Ho Chi Minh City's goings on. We have an Avatar volcano located in a Vietnamese mall. I love Avatar, I think it's cheesy. One day I try and go home from a friend's house, only to discover that Vietnam won the football. In October, I went to Taiwan to celebrate Pride. I had a lot of fun. I made a whole video about this. I saw many familiar icons like the flag of Mauritius, corporate social responsibility. Wow, look at that Pokemon. I also found this shop called Tom's World, and I found that after I already changed my YouTube channel name. Before the end of the year, I've got one more trip planned to Hanoi. I've been to Hanoi 3 times this year. The pollution is still pretty bad. Gosh, I also found 100 tung 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 sahurs. Oh dear. And then most recently, I spent Christmas in Hanoi. Look at those lights. Ooh, I had a fun time. And last thing to end the video on, look at all these cranes in this bush. Whoa. So that was my year. You're still here? Wow, I'm surprised. Thanks for staying to the end. Please like, comment, and subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.